Hey guys, welcome to the Chicken Bucket Boys podcast, powered by PX Media and Unhinged Media. I'm your host, Brian DeGennaro. With me on the other side of the computer screen, Paraskevas Xenophontos. Sorry
How
about
you guys
that.
doing? No, Brian, everybody messes up my name. You're not the
Yeah,
first one,
it's a
man.
mouthful, man. So we're just going to jump right into it today. Not a whole lot going on, so we're going to do some speculation for what's to come for the season. So one of the things that we've been mulling over is a potential playoff format that's different from the usual. You know, with a potentially shortened season, it might not be fair to do the usual playoff format. You don't get a whole season to judge all the teams, and they don't get an opportunity to really show what's going on. So we thought maybe we could come up with some alternative scenarios that could come up. So you got any ideas, Para?
So picture this. At this rate, basketball and hockey season is completely done. So if the MLB were to start, speculation is it'll start the first week of July. So maybe a little 4th of July. There's also a lot of speculation about the fact that MLB wants to do back-to-back doubleheaders, like 7-inning doubleheaders. But I think that'll be too much on the players and it's big-time injury risk. So
Yeah.
if the season were to start the first week of July, you can cancel the trade deadline. Maybe you can get rid of the All-Star game and just have an 80-game season. So as Brian said, a lot of teams are going to be running to the finish line because all those shorting games in 80 games, you have to prove everything you have to make the playoffs. So one idea I had in mind is I know they wanted to inherit that thing in 2022 about having the first round bye. The opponent gets to pick their team they want to play in the first round, but I'm going to do a little twist to that. So if we were to use last year's standings, the Astros and the Dodgers had the best record in the American League and the National League. So the number one team gets a bye first for the first round of the playoffs. And instead of having a one game wild card game to see who advances, have that number two team, the number two ranked best team, play against the second best team in the wild card, and have the number one wild card team play the third best team in the league. And then you can inherit everything. You can get viewership because nowadays sports is all about money. So if you want viewership and you want to have the season done by the end of October into early November instead of going into Christmas, I feel like that's a great format
Yeah.
because if players really want to make the playoffs and have a championship underneath their belt, imagine the Yankees having that number one first round bye. Yeah, they'll be a little rusty into the second round, but they know what to expect, and it's not like one team is win it or break it. Like they have a fair opportunity to make it to the next round of the playoffs. So what's
Yeah.
your take on that, Brian?
Well, it also gets rid of the wild card game. And I mean, I think for most baseball purists, we hate the wild card game. I don't know about you, but I hate the wild card game. I know some people think it's exciting. You know, it's a one game playoff, but that's not how baseball works. You know, baseball is a game of series and game of averages, and, you know, anything can happen in one game.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, for me, I never really liked the wild card game. So I'm on board with that because it gets
I've
rid of that.
I went to the 2017 wild card game and I went to the 2018 wild card game. Yeah, they're exciting and they're rowdy, but if
Mhm.
one mistake happens in that game, your season gets flushed down the toilet. Like you
Yeah.
can have
Yeah.
you can have all the MVPs, all the greatest players on your team, but if one pitcher makes a mistake, if a hitter makes a mistake, a fielding mistake, and it costs you the game, your season's basically over in one night. So
Yeah.
it's not fair. So that's why I like to see both wild card teams play at least 3 or 4 or 5 games
Sure.
in the first round. Even if they lose, they still got the opportunity to
Yeah,
showcase their team.
even if it's a 3 game set, that's for me that's better than the single game. And people are
Yeah.
always like, "Oh, it's like a built-in game 7," but not really because you don't get the first 6 games to win it. So
Yeah.
you don't have that
It's like
opportunity.
you could have the best pitcher throughout the entire season, but in one game,
Yeah, you
they
never know
can
what's
give up
going to
six
happen.
runs in the look at Severino.
Yeah,
2017, he pitched outstanding. He gave up 2 home runs in the first inning to the Minnesota Twins.
yeah,
So
it's crazy.
if you
Well,
were to twist
I like your idea. For me, I think I'd change it even more. Um, like I was saying, because you have a shortened season, there's really you're not going to get a clear picture of who are the best teams in 80 games. You know, you might get some idea, but my thought was to expand the playoffs to include more teams, like maybe do 10 teams from each league as opposed to the usual, which is what, 6 now, 5,
Yeah. So
6.
it's
It's
yes.
five,
Let me.
5. It's 5 from each league. So you would
Yeah.
double it. You'd make it 10. And that way you get 20 teams in the postseason. You maybe would end the season around the same time as usual, or maybe even a little bit earlier, because why the hell not at this point? And
I
then,
mean, like, who would want
and
a
then you,
baseball season into Christmas?
yeah, I mean,
That's
I
the-
I would, but
like, honestly, it would be a good idea, but just remember, if your team makes the World Series, you can't go live. You would have to
yeah,
travel because they
yeah,
want to do a
that
neutral site.
sure, and of course you'd have a shorter off season for the players too, which especially for a team like the Yankees with all their injuries, that's not what we want. Um, but yeah, so my thought would be to expand the postseason, make it longer, and maybe like have the postseason be the main focus of this season. You know, like use the quote unquote regular season, the shortened regular season, as maybe like a warm up or whatever, and then the postseason is the main attraction, and plus that'd probably bring in more money because you get more viewership. It's the postseason, so people tend to tune in for those, and I think that'd be way more exciting.
Listen, I love that idea of more teams, but
It's never going to happen, but I think it's a cool idea.
see, this is the thing. You're during this pandemic, everybody's coming up with all these ideas, and everybody's getting in their creative side with baseball. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays in the next couple months because
Yeah.
everybody wants baseball. Thursday was supposed to be opening day at the Yankee Stadium. We were supposed to play. Who was it? Was it the Blue Jays or the Rays? We were supposed to open up.
I don't remember. I've pushed it out of my mind because I don't care anymore.
Save adult baseball. I couldn't even think of it. Yep, can't even check. All right, forget about that. But honestly, if I have to wait till July for baseball, it'll be annoying. But I'll take it, even if it's 80 games, and I get to see the Yankees play a healthy. I'm praying, knock on wood, this whole thing lays over and we get a full healthy team entering July. Our rotation's going to be solid. Our lineup's going to be fantastic. It's one of the best lineups in all of baseball. But maybe
Yeah,
we might get that Dodgers Yankees World Series everybody's been hoping for in these last couple of years.
that'd be awesome. We'll see
So
what happens. I mean, we got some time to figure it out, but who knows? Well, anyway, with the season being pushed back later, I think we're probably going to end up seeing a later postseason. So there's been talk of them doing the postseason games at a neutral site, like somewhere in Florida or maybe in Texas, where it's warmer, or it has a dome. So how do you think? What do you think about that? How do you think that would affect the Yankees if they were to make it to the postseason?
if the Yankees were to play the Dodgers in the World Series at Minute Maid Park, that would have been awesome.
That would be great.
No trash cans, nobody using
Oh, there'd be a
buzzers,
ton of
no
trash
nothing.
cans.
Honestly, imagine a bunch of Yankees fans, if they allow fans during that time. Imagine Yankees fans and Dodgers fans in Minute Maid Park. And the
That'd be
Yankees
awesome.
or any of those teams win the World Series. Riots are going to happen outside the streets of Houston.
Burn down the stadium probably.
So if it comes to that, I'll respect the decision because right now it's all about safety and the safety about the players, the coaches, and the people that work in the stadium. So
Sure.
I wouldn't mind it at all. I would love to see it at Yankee Stadium, but if it comes
Yeah.
down to that, and that's what they have to deal with, I'll accept it. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be great. I think the Yankees, I dare to say that the Yankees, it might actually be an advantage for them because they tend to have lots of fans everywhere. You know, if you go down to see a game against the Rays in Tampa, it's predominantly Yankees fans. If you go to, really anywhere, there's always Yankees fans.
If you
So
go to Baltimore for open, like if
yeah,
the Yankees opening day in Baltimore happened, 95% of those fans there would be Yankee fans. you would
Yeah.
see 5% of Orioles. Because who wants to go see the Orioles? I mean, Camden Yards is
Yeah,
Camden Yards
but
is one of my favorite parks I've ever visited. But
sure. But I mean, even when they're good, there tend to be Yankees fans everywhere.
oh,
So,
absolutely.
so I think that kind of gives them a little bit of an advantage because then even if it's like an away game at a neutral site, it's sort of like a home game because they have the fans. It's definitely not the same as being at Yankee Stadium, but it's better than being away.
Yankee
Actually,
Stadium during
away.
the playoffs. The last couple of times I've went, it felt like a zoo. I honestly thought Yankee Stadium was going to fall down to the ground. Like before you even walk in, you just feel the electricity and just the rage from every single Yankees fan in there.
Oh man, I
So
gotta get to one.
if they do and they play at Yankee Stadium, me and you are definitely going.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, if there is no baseball, everything that has occurred in the beginning of the season, like some players signed 1-year deals, there were some suspensions. There's a good possibility that next year you might not have Masahiro Tanaka in the rotation. You might not have James Paxton in the rotation. Giancarlo Stanton might opt out. Zach Britton might opt out. And then as our friend Patrick Hennessy's favorite player, Brett Gardner, he has a club option after this year. So, but guys like AJ Hinch and Jeff Luhnow, their suspension they basically served their suspension. That's what they came out and MLB said. So
Yeah.
here's a couple of free agents. So they're looking so far. Here's the Yankees' top free agents entering 2021 if there's no baseball. You have Giancarlo Stanton. He's going to be 31, and he has a $29 million player option. Tanaka's going to be a free agent. Zach Britton has a $13 million player option. Paxton's a free agent. Gardner has a club option. And then you have guys like Adam Warren and then DJ LeMahieu, and the rest are a bunch of minor leaguers. Guys like Chris Iannetta, Eric Kratz. So out of all those guys, Brian, who do you see is back with the Yankees if there's no season in 2020?
Well, I expect Zach Britton to be back. I don't think that he's going to turn down. What was it, 13 million
Yeah.
option? I don't think he's going to turn that down. The only way that he'd get more than that is realistically if he took on a closer role somewhere. And I don't know if, especially if they don't play this year, I don't know if anyone would really be willing to give him that kind of money. As far as the other guys, I would be shocked if they let DJ LeMahieu go. But again, it depends. I don't know exactly how high they value him. He had a great season last year, but if they don't play this year, he's getting older. Who knows if they're going to want to keep him around.
He's 32 at the moment, so
Yeah. So I mean, he's not old, but he's not young either.
yeah.
He played solid. He was great last year. So I mean, obviously, I'd love to see him again this year, and I think that would give him more of a chance to come back. How about you? Anybody?
Well, Stanton obviously is not going to opt out of his contract.
No,
He's
there's no
not.
way.
Stanton's going to be a Yankee unless they decide to trade him in the future. Until further notice, until the end of that contract, I can see Giancarlo Stanton being a Yankee for the rest of his career.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, like if they were to pick between Paxton and Tanaka to bring back, I honestly feel like they would bring Tanaka back because postseason Tanaka is phenomenal. You've
He's
seen him in the
great.
last couple of years, so I don't know if Paxton. It's hard to tell with Paxton because he's been injured. He's been injured the last couple of times.
Yeah.
Ever since he's come to the Yankees. So it's really hard to decide whether they'll bring back both or just one of them. But if the season does play out and Gardner has a bad year, I can see them denying that club option
Sure.
because he's getting older. He's not getting any younger. So
Yeah.
out of all those guys, three I can actually see them bringing back. Britton and Stanton, obviously, but Tanaka, I can't see them letting go.
Yeah, I don't think Tanaka really wants to go anywhere either. So I wouldn't be surprised if he took a little bit less money than he might be able to get elsewhere to stay here. And I think they really like Paxton. I think Cashman really likes Paxton. And Paxton, when he's on, he's one of the
Yeah,
best pitchers in the league.
yeah, absolutely.
He's
It all
yeah. Yeah, so I would be surprised if they let him go too. So I think both those guys have a pretty good shot of coming back.
So if there was no season and a lot of the guys who are going to be free agents, how do you think the market's going to be playing out since a lot of the teams are not going to be getting money in for a full-on season? So
Yeah.
are we going to see the same vibe we saw in last year's free agency where, like, free agents were getting this big money?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting big money left and right, or are you going to see something that we saw 2 years ago where the top free agents didn't sign leading into spring training?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think you'll probably get something closer to the previous year where you got a bunch of guys signing 1-year deals because they can't get the money that they're looking for. And, that's fine. They can have a 1-year deal and prove it and then sign a big contract the following year. But, yeah, I think that's probably what you're looking at. The top free agents will still get paid. Like
I mean,
Bryce Harper, Manny Machado got paid that year. But
the
the
top free
middle tier
agent,
guys.
yeah, it's the top free agent leading into the 2021 free agency is Mookie Betts.
Mm,
So imagine if the Dodgers traded for Mookie Betts and they gave up some of their top prospects and he never plays for them.
that would be
And
nuts.
because for a fact Mookie Betts is not going to take a 1-year deal to just
No,
play with the Dodgers. He's going to go
no.
somewhere that's going to offer him $350 million. Oh,
Yeah, and can the Dodgers afford that at this point? I mean, they have a lot of young guys coming up that are going to need to get paid, and who
it's their
knows?
call.
Yeah,
You never know. You might go back to Boston.
well, he could come to
Boston
New
could have.
York.
Now that's not a bad idea. Imagine
Now
a
that's a
lot.
guy that you splurge for. I
Imagine an
wouldn't be mad at
outfield.
him.
Imagine an outfield including Mookie Betts, Aaron Hicks, and Aaron Judge.
That would be insane. That would be one of the best fielding outfields ever. Not to mention hitting. I mean, come on. That's
Is Francisco
unfair.
Lindor? Let me check. Is Francisco Lindor a free agent after this year?
Yeah, I believe, isn't he?
Let's look. Okay. In 2021, here are the top free agents. Mookie Betts is number 1. JT Realmuto is number 2.
Okay.
Marcus Semien is number 3. Trevor Bauer is number 4. George Springer's number 5. Marcus Stroman's number 6. Marcelo Ozuna is number 7. DJ LeMahieu's number 8. Mike Minor's number 9. And Jake Odorizzi is number 10.
Okay. Well,
So,
that's some big name players right there.
well, obviously, one guy I can see definitely getting $350 million is Mookie Betts. He's going to be 28, 29 years old. JT Realmuto is going to have probably a good market because everybody's
Yeah.
looking for a good catcher. So either the Phillies
Mhm.
bring him back on a big deal or he can go back to the American League. So it's hard to tell because if baseball's not going to be played, like you saw a lot of owners hesitate to pay their employees who work all year round with the NYCFC or like because a lot of team franchises have not only one team, but they have 2 teams. And those employees that work the concession stands and everything, they work all year round. So a lot of owners were hesitant until it came with domino effect. So, and if they're not generating money left and right through parking, tickets, merchandise, everything in that, they're going to be hesitant to spend money on big time free agents. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. But like I said, I think Mookie will still get his money. I wouldn't be
no,
too
yeah,
worried about that.
maybe we'll get our money too, Pat. I mean, I'm calling you Pat. See, hey, Patrick
Don't
Hennessy,
disrespect me like that.
this is a PSA. We want to be paid. Well, I think we covered all bases for our
Yeah,
episode today.
I think that about wraps it up. So thanks for listening, guys. We are the Chicken Bucket Boys. You can check us out on Twitter. We'll have our handle up. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Have a
Take
great
care.
night.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.